Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning, the First Unitarian Society of Milwaukee.
Good morning.
Oh, it said, good morning, Reverend Chris. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Again, I ask, how are you doing this morning so far? What are you holding that needs rest here, if only for this hour? Rest it. And if you are filled to the brim with joy, let's rest some of that too. We can share joy if we are experiencing it here, can we?
Yes.
Amen?
Amen.
It has truly been an honor to be a part of this religious community, starting not only on my official start date on August 1st, but also throughout my entire interviewing process that began with this church in late December, early January, when I submitted my ministerial search packet to Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom. Can we give it up for Reverend Jennifer Nordstrom, our amazing senior minister, and the search team that were selected for the interview process. Also of note, of deep gratitude to the board, the church members, and the staff who have made my transition from Baton Rouge, Louisiana in late June, where I spent the last 3 years until my arrival here into my apartment home on July 1st. They have helped to make my move here as smooth as earthly possible, which I can hardly share enough positive about. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Since arriving in my position here in August, I have had the honor of meeting many of you in coffee hour and other meetings, with a good number of you taking me up on my ongoing offer to have time for tea and coffee or a meal to get to know each other a bit better. I've had the good fortune to meet several times with the coordinator of our pastoral care ministry and with the pastoral care associates. I've met with the lead of our pastoral care providers and with the coordinator and members of our shawl ministry. I even got my handmade shawl to welcome me into this community. I had several meetings with the coordinators of the theme circles and enjoyed a potluck dinner with many of the theme circle facilitators. Thank you for this morning's skit. Was it rousing? I think so. I have a trick question. Who here has registered for theme circles? Let's give it up for the theme circles. Our last day to register for those theme circles will be this coming Friday. Amen? Amen. Amen. A week ago Saturday, I was invited and visited some of our elders in our church who live at St. Rita's Square, where we enjoyed homemade cookies, tea, and coffee, and where I shared some of my journey to get here. It was delightful on so many levels. Thank you for those who live at St. Rita for the invitation and for the time shared. I'm in the process of connecting with some of the other elder members who live in similar communities throughout the city. Excuse me. Just last Saturday, I had a picnic lunch at Juneau Park with some of our Welcome and Belonging team members. Also last Sunday, I was invited to engage in our faith formation programming with children and youth present. I witnessed the younger beings among us discuss through a game with a kiddie pool filled with Orbeez. Who here knows what Orbeez are? I did not know until last Sunday, and it was a blast. They had the kiddie pool filled, and they were to toss in animals, like stick animals, like little bitty things, and hunt them down in the Orbeez, all the while discussing what kept them afloat when life got complicated for them. Thank you, Reverend Kimberly, the minister of our, what's the full title now again? Minister of Faith Formation, and Fiona, the children that invited me, it was a blast to participate. I learned a lot about the critical ministry in our church that is serving this amazing population and how hard Reverend Kimberly and the other staff work to run and support this ministry. Finally, this past Wednesday, engaging one of the loves of my life, I had the opportunity to do a meet and greet with some of our young adult members group over a cup of coffee at Canary Coffee Bar before heading to the Fiserv. Who here has been to the Fiserv? I had never been to the Fiserv, and it was women's college volleyball. That is my jam, and my team is playing today at noon, and I won't be there to wish them on. But they were playing Marquette, and I'm not going to tell you who won. What fun. Thank you, young adults, for the meeting before and for all the times we will share in the coming months. All of these meetings and other gatherings have been humbling and rewarding to see just how many of you love this church, the community that is being built here that provides a working sense of belonging in many ways. I look forward to meeting more of you in the coming weeks and months ahead. Again, the title and theme for today's service, Take Me to the Alley, Building Belonging as a Spiritual Practice. As some of you, or many of you may know, or may be hearing for the first time, this month's theme has been following, as was shared this morning, the Soul Matters curriculum with over 200 other congregations around the theme of building belonging. As was shared, these themes are generated each month through a comprehensive spiritual and religious development curriculum called Soul Matters, and it's been running for the last 15 years. Two of the ways that I want to uplift of the many ways belonging is defined within the curriculum. One, without community, there is no liberation, only the most vulnerable and temporary armistice between an individual and her oppression. These words gifted us by the late Audre Lorde. Two, we are biologically, cognitively, physically, and spiritually wired to love, to be loved, and to belong. When these needs are not met, we don't function as we were meant to. We break, we fall apart, we numb, we ache, we hurt others, we get sick. These words by Brene Brown. A few weeks ago, Reverend Jennifer introduced the new staff, of which I am one of the church, and asked us each to share what it has felt like in our lives when we have belonged. My humble and honest response was, when I don't have to leave any part of myself at the door to be included. I now invite you to take a few moments to reflect on when you have felt you have belonged. What, where, or who helped you with that sense of belonging? What did it feel like? For me, coming packaged as I am, when I have felt a sense of belonging, my outward identities as an proud African American, 1/8 Chinese, working class, working poor, moderately educated, out for 101% gay male, and a Unitarian Universalist are welcome and included, as I hope to welcome others no matter where I am in this amazing, beautiful, and truly complicated world. As important to our personal and collective sense of belonging, we have been or are striving here and in our lives beyond these walls is our deep commitment we are working towards in living out our Unitarian Universalist values into the world, especially now. Can I get an amen? Amen. We could all use a deeper sense of belonging now. Conversely, when have you felt a deep sense that you do not or have not belonged. I will not ask you to spend too much time thinking of these times, as I'm clearly aware that some of us here today live the realities of not belonging right now. Some of many examples of not belonging are, for some who live with different abilities, our society still woefully underserving the needs of way too many people living with different abilities. Amen? Amen. To a woman or others who seek reproductive justice in a world where others, namely men, are dictating what you can or cannot do with your body. Amen. This continues to create a sense of way too many women and others being considered second or third class citizens. For us who are LGBTQ, especially our transgender kin and transgender youth, who are experiencing unthinkable hardships, even more so this week with the news out of Utah, where some authorities are working to connect the murderer's relationship with their transgender partner only to prove a political point of some sort. This is putting our transgender friends and kin at even more danger in this toxic environment in way too many states across the country, and for some, even here in Wisconsin. And dare I mention what's happening with our immigrants, friends, family, and kin, and those who are undocumented. Their families, they are truly experiencing a living hell. Amen? Amen. On a more personal note, I can hardly express how many times in my life when I have felt or feel, and it was made abundantly clear, I did not or do not belong in some spaces. Sadly, as you can probably imagine, this is also true in some Unitarian Universalist spaces for way too many people still. Spaces where, like in the general society, we're engaging and working to embody the moral, ethical, spiritual, religious work, even labor of doing the justice work necessary to be more diverse, equitable, even humane with others and our planet when it all is seen as extra work. Or, for way too many people in our country, the sacred work is considered divisive and currently challenged as woke. Can y'all say woke? Woke. DEI, or critical race theory. And not seen as the price all of us should or must pay for being a human in this ever-changing world. Hence, we, all of us, must do the spiritual, sacred work that we as Unitarian Universalists or those seeking community with us are engaged to practice, fail. Did I say fail? Can y'all say fail? Fail. Practice some more? Practice some more. Our values of justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, all centered in love. All centered in love. All centered in love. This sacred work is ever critical now. I'm going to ask the question, y'all still with me? Yes. Yes, it is hard to see with all that is going on that there is a new, better world possible. And, say, and. Our great challenge as Unitarian Universalists, or those who are just learning about us, we must continue the sacred work in building senses of belonging for more people as we do have here, belonging in abundance. Friends, we here are, I truly believe, and have felt in my short time of being here, we are working hard to build a true sense of belonging for all who enter these doors. We are making our way towards the conclusion of this morning's sermon, so I wanted to offer again for our deeper reflection, even challenge, Some of the lyrics of the song by the amazing artist Gregory Porter, shared through Nick's reading this morning. Porter's lyrics read, "Take me to the alley." They start, "Well, they gild their houses in preparation for the king, and they line the sidewalks with every sort of shining thing. They will be surprised when they hear him say, 'Take me to the alley. Take me to the afflicted ones. Take me to the lonely ones that somehow lost their way.' Let them hear me say, 'I am your friend. Come to my table. Rest here in my garden. You will have a pardon.'" Back in July, I had the good fortune of having one of my spiritual directors, who's a mentor, a fellow Unitarian Universalist minister, and a friend, Mtwasawa, the Reverend Mtwasawa Anthony J. Johnson. He stayed with me within weeks of my arriving for a whole week. We took in this song almost every day, and I see it as a spiritual challenge. When I hear the phrase, "Take me to the alley," what comes up into my heart? What cultural constructs might have me fearing, falsely in many cases, who is in the alley? Where might the metaphor of an alley keep me from engaging, even befriending someone who may be down on their luck? When we encounter those in community that should also feel a sense of belonging, how might we be willing to stretch ourselves as safely as possible to break down some of the divides for way too many of our neighbors who feel or have no sense of belonging? As important, when do I add to the feeling of treating my neighbor as the other? What do our Unitarian Universalist values fortify us to do in these and similar situations? This indeed is ongoing, spiritually challenging for me. What about you? In closing, some of the language from this morning's opening words by the Reverend Dr. Sarah Lammert, who I know well. We create a web of life. A web of life is created within which you can rest in that knowing. Because out of that, you can act. Out of that, all power is yours. Out of that, you travel light. Out of that, you can step forward. She continues, "Let every encounter be a homecoming as we step forward now for the healing of our world. The world is not going to be saved by good people or noble people. The world is going to be healed by ordinary people like you and me, who are not afraid of pain and who are not afraid of loving each other." Ashe, Shalom, Salam, blessed be, may it be so, and all the people said,